An all-new episode of The Mitch, Lafon, and Jeremy White Show.
Tuesday at noon.
Available wherever you stream.
Now, just let's be honest. You're on your fourth drummer. Do we even need him here? I mean, he's going to be replaced soon, right?
I can go if you need me to, yeah.
So it's always the drummer.
I'm kidding, Max. I love you. Thank you for tweeting to me yesterday. It was
Of course.
It was delightful. It
Wanted to
was
say
delightful.
hello before we met via Zoom, so.
Well, there you go. Yes, right. We got to know each other. I feel engaged now. It's beautiful.
Yeah. We're in on this. Well, listen, let's get right into it. Kicking off their Welcome to Elsewhere tour. January 13th, the Belasco Theater in LA, hitting Phoenix, Houston, Atlanta. Going to be performing at the House of Blues in Orlando. Also, Irving Plaza in New York City. Going to be rapping at the Berkeley, California, at the UC Theater on February 12th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. Ticketmaster.com or wherever you get tickets at this point. I mean, you want to scalp them? You want the band to put you on the guest list? I mean,
yeah.
Get tickets. Welcome to the show. Set it off. There they are, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
What's happening?
Pleasure to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having us on.
I just want to start with Max for a second because I was checking out your Instagram and, you post photos of you behind the drum kit and you're playing what we would call in the biz the perfect kit. Rack, floor, kick, snare, got a couple of cymbals. Is that a budget thing or is that like, how come you don't got like a double kick drum or none,
I'll tell you what. So when we were first starting out, obviously we was just us in a van. We had to load all of our gear. And so when I was about 16 or 17, before I started touring, I had like a 8-piece kit and I had a bucket and congos and all this stuff, or congas, excuse me. And we start touring and I realized I don't want to have to carry all of this stuff and load it in and set it all up and tear it down. So I went as minimal as I possibly could, and then fell in love with that. So
yeah, the recession happened. We had to cut out the drum set significantly.
No budget for mics. I mean,
Yeah.
Not every club has a freight elevator, and lugging that shit upstairs can get real heavy.
I will say I've been looking into getting a gong. I feel like it's so.
Yeah. Why get an extra drum? Yeah, why get an extra kick drum when you can have like a 40-inch gong behind you? I mean,
Yeah.
There's something about the anticipation of going to a show, seeing a gong, and going, when are they going to hit that?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Alex Van Halen.
Getting the gong and never hitting it. So they're just waiting for the moment and it never happens.
Yeah. I mean, Alex
Peter
Van Halen,
Criss.
he had his gong behind him for every tour, and he'd hit it once at the end of the drum solo, and okay, worth it right there,
Oh yeah.
Oh my lord!
Listen, I want to talk about this record. I mean, you got a new album coming up. We're not allowed to really talk about it yet, but you put out this new song, Skeleton, which is great. First of all, I just want to say, did you guys plan this? Because you should totally sell this song to Peloton, because you could totally change Skeleton to Peloton.
I'm not even joking. All the time when you're writing a song in the studio, you'll make jokes about the song you're writing. That's one of them. We're like, Peloton! Just like, imagine doing that for the whole ad campaign. Just scream Peloton at you.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I can totally hear that. Right now, get Peloton for only $9.99 a month. Peloton!
They're just riding the bike as fast as they can.
Yeah, it's like a skeleton waving and riding the bike.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
On brand and everything.
But talk about that, because it's like, writing songs, it's such a weird process, and you're trying to rhyme words with this and that, try and make it catchy with the melody. I mean, you get the word skeleton and you're trying to rhyme it with other things. I mean, how did you come up with this whole thing?
Dude, it's kind of a hilarious story. So I go in with my friend and producer, Bruce, and he shows me this chord progression on piano, and I was like immediately drawn to that. And I was like, okay, let's write over this. And we actually zoomed in another friend of ours, Cam Walker, who I have this like great chemistry with. And so we wanted to show Cam the chord progression little like thing he put together, like the skin and bones of it, if you will. And he called it Skeleton, because it was the skeleton of the song. Right. And so Cam just immediately went into like writer mode, like, okay, cool. So Skeleton, love that title. We're like, oh, that wasn't like the title. Like, but what if it was?
You're like, no, that's just the demo session, man. Like,
exactly. Like we literally worked backwards from there. So we were like, all right, Skeleton. So what if that were to be something? First of all, what I always do is if we have a title, I like to check on Spotify. Is it already a massive song? Because do we want to compete with it? Like, and if so, is it worth competing with? And surprisingly, Skeleton is not like a massive song anywhere that I could find at that time. And so we're like, all right, let's do it. So we're like, well, then what could that relate to? I was like, well, what's the most bare thing on the planet other than a skeleton? This could be about how vulnerable you are, and you're just bearing everything, and you're stripped down, and you feel naked, and that sort of thing, and feeling like that with the person that you trust most, like your partner that you're with, and that was the basis of the song, and it kind of developed and evolved into being okay with being vulnerable. And it was actually really fun starting there, because then you knew what kind of like your lyrical arsenal, what wheelhouse it had to live within, because you know your overarching theme is like this skeleton. So it actually was a really fun process and kind of a challenge, and ended up being one of our favorites, to the point where we wanted to lead the new album cycle with it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, it's pretty relatable, because everybody has a skeleton in their body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the closet.
Yeah. Currently inside of one.
Yeah.
It's kind of holding us up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, then again, you're writing about, being naked and being really, wanting to be open in a relationship. I mean, it could have been about the opposite. It could have been deceased, and how a relationship could have really killed you.
Yeah. And that's another beautiful thing about this is I remember, like, when you're writing a song, it's a selfish experience. You're writing about something you're going through, and you want to write a song that you like, and then hopefully other people like it as well. And that's just what you base it off of. Do I like it? Cool. Hopefully everybody else does. What you don't expect sometimes is how other people can interpret it to fit what they're going through. Like, we had a song called Missing You off of our old EP, Horrible Kids. And I wrote it about how just I would go on tour and miss that girlfriend that I was dating at the time, and how it felt to be away for that extended amount of time. And someone came back to me and was like, man, this really helped me out through my boyfriend was on deployment. And I would have never imagined that scenario attaching to that. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see how people attribute this song to their personal lives and personal experiences.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Talk to me about the sound, because you're a trio. Talk to me about where this new album that we're going to talk about eventually is going in terms of sonically, because I went back in your catalog and you seem to mature or advance with every new album or every new video. What are we doing on this one where you're just going, this is 2021, this is not 2012 or 28 or,
And it's going into a next album cycle. I mean, obviously you want to go in with some sort of plan of where to go sonically, but if you overthink that plan, I think is when you get into trouble. It's like, oh, we're going to be this band. And we've done that before. And it just kind of puts you down this really narrow path of what you can and can't do. And you put rules on how you can write these. You find yourself in a box. I feel like with our previous album, Midnight, and this one, we found ourselves in a situation where we're just like, let's just write wherever we're going to write, because we're constantly growing as people. Our interests are going to grow. How we write is going to grow. So it just kind of naturally evolves into that. But as far as what the soundscape is looking like, it's just variety. I don't know. First of all, are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah,
totally. You can. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
I love not having any sort of restrictions and just writing whatever the fuck we want to write.
Totally.
Well, as you should.
Yeah.
But like that, it's because before it used to feel like you have this certain amount of rules. Like, if you want to write an album, you have to go into the studio first without like maybe a couple demos, and then you do drum day, and then you do guitar day, and then bass and vocals. And now it's changed so much that you just go in with like a producer, or I love doing these co-writes, and we don't have necessarily a plan. We just start writing, and if we love the song, it makes the record. And because we have changed so much over the years, we've kind of put ourselves in a position where we can do so many different styles, and that's so much fun for us, especially for like live shows.
Yeah, it sounds great. And of course, drum day now is just you turn on the computer and you say, "Can you just find me a loop?"
No, we had a drum day.
Drum day's addictive drummer now. I mean, come on, you're not.
It's out of order now.
My days are numbered.
It's just you're pushing a button. Does that work?
Yeah. Hey, listen, back in the day, you had the Lynn drum and Fairlight. Now you got addictive drums and fuck. I mean, even the samples in Logic are even better than most drum kits these days. I mean,
Poor Max.
Max, talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you feel the pressure of that? Like, oh man, maybe we could just program my drum parts and I'll try and recreate them live, or do you actually sit there? Are you recording the drum kit, live off the floor?
Yeah. So we record everything live. I think there's a lot of music in which it's not necessary, but coming from a rock background, and we are a rock band, there is an intangible that you can't get from a computer playing. And it sounds great. And, maybe some people can't tell the difference, but there's just, for example, we had Skeleton, we were listening to the demo and everything was done except the drums, and just hearing the difference from.
So noticeable.
Yeah, it was night and day. And it's the kind of thing you couldn't quite place why. There was just an energy just a feeling that human element that really sets it over the edge.
And it's crazy. Like you recorded live drums like in different studios because we were working with different producers as well. And for this one in particular, we had like 6 songs through 2 producers. One flew from Los Angeles to Nashville. You were coming from the UK, flew from the UK to Nashville, went to Blackbird Studios. And it was the coolest thing ever because we wanted to get that natural energy from the song. But we've never done this before. They had a reverb chamber, which was the size of a closet, like the ceiling sky high, all like very hard walls. And we put a mic in there to capture the reverb from his snare and then gated that reverb to kind of give it that sort of 80s feel.
Totally.
Dude,
Reverb. We love it.
We had some fun with that.
Dude, I mean, look, that's old school recording. Back in the day, Bob Clearmountain working at Electric Lady, he'd, run a PA speaker into the stairwell to get that Born in the USA kind of snare tone. I mean,
I love that.
Clearmountain
the kind of stuff that really because obviously so many producers are taking from the same thing, Splice and these programs. So when you're able to
the same drum samples these days, it's like
exactly. So when you're able to do something different, when you're able to kind of put in that extra effort and make it sound unique, that's the kind of thing that's going to set you apart.
And when you're programming, I mean, you're not going to get that wash of the crash. When you're riding it on the you can't really program that and get that natural human kind of feel to it. So.
We even had a moment in one of the songs where there was like this, we wanted because like in the studio you want everything to be super crisp between the silences, and obviously you can choke a cymbal and get a good live, but we wanted it like that definitive silence. So I got to be on cymbal choke duty for one song.
Nice.
Just standing in there watching them play, like we're just like bobbing heads together and just once. Okay, cool.
That's the best. That's the best.
Great.
Did you break a nail? Get in there, try to choke it.
I might consider changing my role in the band to just that, actually.
Cymbal choker. That's also my
cymbal
stripper
choker.
name.
Yeah.
It is a great symbol name. Just real quick, you mentioned that you're a rock band, and I was trying to describe you to my wife yesterday. I said, "Oh, there's this new band, and I said they're sort of like the Backstreet Boys meets Poison. They're like
I love that.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, they're like a boy band vibe with Poison's color scheme and sort of talk dirty to me lyrically.
It's like Backstreet Boys singing Def Leppard songs.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. So what is your demographic? What is your market? Because I'm looking at the videos and it's 21 million views and it's 20 million views and I'm like, wow, okay, they're popular and people love them. But what are you aiming for? Are you aiming for the teens? Are you aiming for the tweens?
I think that's what kind of makes us is we're not aiming for anybody. Like we're just kind of writing what we want, and we're I realize because like the music that we all grew up listening to is just a melting pot of a bunch of stuff. Like
what?
Like, so I would listen to whatever my sister was listening to, which was usually like TLC, Usher. Then I got into like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, so you nailed that. Like that era, the Max Martin era of melody, which is my favorite type of melody. How the math behind it, the catchiness behind it.
That guy's a genius. I mean,
oh my God, he's
you even look at today. Today's the anniversary of Shania Twain's "Come On Over," and you've even got vibes of that on the Midnight record, where you listen to those drums that are mixed with the great melodies. It's like it's so melodic.
Dude, it's fun because like it's between that when we got into a new metal phase, a pop punk phase, a ska phase, and just like my dad raised me on like Earth, Wind and Fire, Tower of Power, so like horns and stuff like that. So we're not even trying to.
That's funny. By the way, your publicist is the publicist for Tower of Power.
I know, that made me so excited. By the way, please get me to a show. Oh my God.
Get him on a song.
I was listening to them 2 days ago. I still listen to them all the time. But yeah, it's just kind of because we were exposed to all those different sounds over the years, it just kind of sneaks its way in. And
you also grew up with a classical background.
Yeah, I played. Right, I played clarinet. I started in second grade, and I actually went to college.
I was a clarinet player too in high school. Yeah, I was the Squidward of my class.
Luckily, I was popular.
Yeah, it doesn't really come with a lot of perks in school.
No, not really.
Hey, baby, come on. No? Okay.
No? Yeah, I know. I got to go practice.
Hey, baby, you want to come over and lick my reed?
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord, that's terrible. But okay, and you mentioned new metal. I mean, what are we talking, like Papa Roach, or are we talking like?
Well, I mean, I guess I started with like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Disturbed. This isn't new metal, but around that time, I really got into Tenacious D.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, respect for the Tenacious, man.
Yeah. Wait,
the D.
What about you? Were you the same wheelhouse?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, them, Linkin Park as well.
Oh,
there was
God,
just people there was this really cool era, and people kind of roast it now, but they were just kind of experimenting and trying new things.
Yeah.
Kind of mixing rap and rock and metal and all of these different elements, and it really felt like anything was possible.
Yeah, it was super exciting.
Yeah, and I loved that time, and I think that's something that we.
Do we like Buck Cherry too? Come on, give me some.
I actually saw them live, and they were
catchy
good.
song.
Come on, I just drove them around town for 2 days. You got to love the Buck Cherry. Come on.
I saw them with I believe it was with Avenged Sevenfold, and I was so impressed.
Ooh,
with their live
that's a good
performance.
fucking bill.
That was my first mosh pit. Was Avenged Sevenfold to the song Chapter 4 at Warped Tour.
You know what?
Nice.
I just felt just Avenged Sevenfold. The records I just don't get, but live they're just fantastic.
Unbelievable live.
I will give you that. They are just a great live band. I saw them at a couple of festivals, and they just dominate the stage.
Yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. They just got such a great show.
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about your live show. Are you guys like, how do you fill up the sound with 3 guys? Are you running the Pro Tools rig or like what's going on?
Oh, yeah, we got some tracks and stuff like that. And that's become, I won't lie, when we first started, like I was afraid to use anything like that, but it's become such a place of normalcy now.
Yeah.
That it's almost, you realize how much you can elevate by throwing in other production into your live set. Like one, for instance, like having a built-in we have a song called No Disrespect. And I saw this video online of this singer Quinn 92 at Bonnaroo doing this thing where he made the crowd jump left, 2, 3, 4 for 8 counts, right. So they're literally jumping together. And I was like, that's the coolest thing. We're doing that. So like I went in and I created a new like where we didn't have to play. It was like synthesizers and bass and like a beat and stuff to kind of just be backing so that I could tell the audience and instruct them what we're about to do.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that, it would just be, obviously we would just be playing guitar and drums, but it's just, it amplifies it so much, and you can like get kind of cinematic with it and raise and build tension. Yeah. I love that you can really get in there and create stuff. And our live show means everything to us.
Yeah. There was also a point where we had a lot of like orchestral sounds in our music, and it wasn't very practical to tour with a whole orchestra.
Yeah.
So,
It's expensive.
Yeah. Get them their own tour bus.
And the freight elevator problem and up and down the...
That was the classical musicians that are always douches.
Yeah.
No, but there's so much debate about using what I would consider enhancement to a show, and it's not a real live show, and in the 70s rock and roll. It's like, yeah, but everything fucking changes.
Exactly. We live in the age of technology, and things are going to change, and you can either get on board or jump off, and that's fine.
But you can also be creative with a computer.
Yes, exactly. It's a new instrument. It really is.
You can have like different interludes and transitions between one song to the next. It's like you can have your whole show run off the click. It's like from start to finish. Your 90-minute set is completely programmed. And
let's not forget that when the electric guitar came out and Chuck Berry started, they said it was the devil's instrument, and big band and jazz is the way to go. And how are you playing the devil's instrument? And it's like, really?
Now it's the devil's Ableton.
Yeah. Dude, people hate change, man. They hate change.
Yeah,
they do, and it's ridiculous because change is what makes living great. Imagine having the same day every day. I mean, Groundhog Day we'd kill ourselves.
Yeah,
change is what keeps it exciting.
We need variety in our lives.
Yeah. I want to talk about the last album, Midnight, just really quickly, because it was actually, believe it or not, it was one of my favorite albums that came out that year. And you guys just
oh my God,
deluxe
thank
edition. You know what I loved about it is the fact, like, I'm a big fan of production and like really good sounding records. Like, I'm a Def Leppard guy, I'm a Mutt Lange guy. Like, I love those records that just sound so well produced. And, you listen to a song like Raise No Fool and like that guitar riff and those tones and like, you even got the ghost notes going like on the snare, like in the groove. It's like, everything is just so well arranged and sounds really good. So I just wanted to compliment you guys on that.
Thank you.
And where did you guys get the idea of like, okay, because you listen to alternative music and you got some bands that are all about, okay, put 4 mics on the drum kit, make it sound like as shitty as possible. We're shoegaze, we got my Vox AC30, mic it up to 50, and then you got you guys where you got like the Def Leppard kind of solid, like, proper polished production sound, which I'm all about. Was there a conscious decision within the band to say we need to sound like radio or we need to sound more punk? Like where did you decide to say, okay, we need good sounding records?
I think where that starts is just like, when that just dream of being like on the radio and that dream of being, and you listen to, what's the best way? Basically, there was this, like, when I was in high school band, there was this lesson my high school band director told me about how this guy came in. He goes, I'm going to tell you all my secrets and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, because no matter what, you'll never make a tour. I'm going to make it. That like over crazy confidence. I know that sounds crazy, but what it just means is like, if you're not working as hard as that person, you don't have a shot at being at their level. So like, if you're not trying to sound at the same production quality as your idols, then how are you ever going to try to stand like next to them, behind them, around them? So we've always like wanted to be where our idols have been and walk near that. And so I think that's where that kind of started. But now it's just kind of become this thing where we know what we like and we try to strive for that. Melody has always been something that I hold dear to my heart, and just trying to surround it with the sounds that we feel will support that.
Right. I love the song Different Songs. For me, I was listening to it and like it's got a cool story to it, but like it was the whole package. Like there's something about the whole, like if you didn't have that production style with that type of song, it wouldn't be as good. Like, and that's a good thing though to me. Like it's like, you know, we always say shitty production can make a really good song suck. And
Absolutely.
you know, it could really make or break it. And, you know, the records that, you know, the last record, and, you know, I guess we'll talk about this new record that's coming up. Are we going to hear like a similar sound to it, or is it going to be?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think the songs will be too similar, but the production style, absolutely. We have a lot of the same people that we worked with in the previous one are involved in this
who have
record
you
as
guys
well.
worked with? I know you had Brandon Paddock on, like, you know, the last record and these things, but it's like,
so the last record was mostly Mike Green, but Brandon Paddock was heavily involved as well, and we have both of them involved on this record. Now on the last record, the song oh my god, I'm spacing. No Disrespect we wrote that with Bruce Wigner. And so he's a guy I've been writing with recently that I really developed a strong chemistry with, and he has been absolutely killing it lately. He just got a Katy Perry cut, that song Electric, and he's just a guy who's been working his ass off, and he's great at production as well. So we introduced him more onto this album.
Yeah, he did Skeleton.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, Skeleton with Bruce and Cam. We worked with him many times before. Bringing back the people that we know we love working with, because that's where we know we're going to succeed the best and have the most fun doing it.
Is that pressure from the label, like your A&R guys saying, like, okay, here's a list of people you can work with, here's how much it's going to cost, you know, pick your poison kind of thing? Or do you actually get to decide, like, oh, we want to work with, you know, Butch Walker or like this person? Or
Oh, dude, no pressure at all, honestly. Like, we kind of get to pick our own team, and they're like, all right, cool. If you feel like this is what's going to create the best product, you go for that. Obviously, we'd love to work with Butch Walker or Max Martin or stuff like that. But
I'll call Butch for you. I know Butch.
Hey, if you want to, tell him we're interested.
I'll give him a call.
we were just talking to Butch like 2 weeks ago. He's the man.
Oh, hell yeah. I love everything he's done.
Yeah. Well, listen, so talk about this new record. I mean, well, actually, you know what? By the time we air this, we'll have announced the record. So does the new record have a title?
Yes. The album is called Elsewhere.
Elsewhere. Okay. Tell us about Elsewhere. What can we expect?
Oh,
So
man.
this is interesting. This is the first time we've done a pseudo concept album. So, but it started in reverse. We didn't get the concept, the story, and then write songs to the story. We wrote the album, and then we realized in previous songs and previous music videos that in the comment section, people start to theorize. What's the underlying meaning and everything like that.
Oh,
And
creepy
we're
fans. God.
like this is like they're creating whole stories behind these songs, and we're not even giving them a reason to. So then we were like, well, what if we actually gave them a reason to? And that's where Max came in.
Yeah, so I mean, we were talking about Midnight before, and that record came out in the beginning of 2019, and it's a very dark record. And obviously, 2020 rolls around, and the whole world stops, right? Mm-hmm. And I think everyone was forced to kind of take a look at themselves and spend some time alone. Us, as a band, we used to be able to travel all the time. We were literally able to run away from our problems, and we were just stuck at home and just had some time to self-reflect, whether we wanted to or not. And through that time, that's where this idea of Elsewhere came about. Mm-hmm. And everything was so bleak and upsetting, and everyone was so upset with each other that I didn't want to just put out have this another dark record, because there's already so much darkness. But I didn't want to ignore the fact that there were things going on. And so I wanted to create something a little more nuanced than that. And so with Elsewhere, you kind of get all of these bright and colorful images mixed with this darkness, with these, skeletons and macabre imagery. And again, like you mentioned, wanted a story to go along with that, which is kind of the experience that myself and I think a lot of other people.
Are you getting a fax?
I'm getting a fax.
Yeah,
right
sorry, I don't know. Yeah, it's from elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're currently
Morse
sending
code?
us messages.
They're letting us know that they're watching.
Yeah.
That's great. But they're doing something macabre, so it's going to be like Backstreet Boys meets Ghost on the next album. It's going to be terrific.
Yeah. I think, and that's something that's always been kind of a blessing and a curse with Set It Off has been that a lot of people listen to us and they go, we're not really quite sure where to place you. You don't really fit into a particular box. And so for that reason, it's kind of hard to put you in these certain areas. And we used to look at that and get really frustrated. And then we realized that's a great thing. Why not embrace the fact that we don't fit in a box, that we are weird? And this,
you know what that is? That's just this like false mentality or like, perception for like gatekeepers, for example. Oh, you like Shania Twain. Well, you're not allowed to like Van Halen. Oh, you like Katy Perry. Well, you're not allowed to like Kiss. The gatekeepers, they put you into this box and they try and, basically pigeonhole you or sandbox you. And I think the best artists are the artists that are a culmination of all of their influences and put them all together.
Well, the ones that break the rules. U2, Madonna, the Beatles, they all bucked the rules at the time. Hey, Jeremy, I'll ask you this. Since your top 40 radio in Montreal, by the way, he's the number one DJ in Montreal, just to let you know.
Hell yes.
What do you do with a band like this? The single drops, it shows up in your inbox, or they drop it on your desk, and what do you do with it? Do you play it? Do you bring it over to the rock station?
I immediately delete that email. That's what I do. Immediately send to spam.
Peloton commercial? What is this?
And you respond, nah.
Fuck that. I don't want 20% on my Peloton. What is this madness?
No, but what do you do?
I mean, it really depends. Like you listen to their music and it's like, I'm talking about them like they're not there. But, you listen to the music and it's like, there's so many bands. I mean, alternative should be fully embracing you guys. I mean, CHR should take a song like that. I mean, they'll play the dumbass song High Hopes from Panic at the Disco. But then they won't touch, Skeleton. I mean, like it's so weird. It really does come down to, the audience. I mean, at our station, at our station, every song is like, tested and with every.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy the process that it goes for every song that we play. Because there's just so much competition, but it's just like that in the music biz too. I mean, it really does come down to numbers. You got your record plugger going to a music director's office saying, "Hey, they got this many streams. It's blowing up. Number 4 Shazam in your area. You should be spinning this kind of thing."
Well, that's the funny thing about all of the, like you mentioned, we're like, oh, we're not really sure. This sounds strange. We don't know if this is going to succeed. And then meanwhile, like in less than a week, Skeleton already has 500,000 streams on Spotify. So it's like. Our fan base has embraced this and they like the fact that we don't fit into a box. And so it's just kind of a funny juxtaposition of like, there's all of these people who are such a massive fan, but if you didn't know that, you would go, I don't really know who's into this. And the answer is our fans.
Yeah. Well, your Spotify has 500 million streams cumulative, which is like 500 million fucking streams. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, you want to try and get as many people under the tent as possible, right? I mean, that's what we always say. Yep. I mean, if you're just going to focus on one's, market, well, then you're screwing yourself out of the other 90%. So.
Yeah.
Well, you do alternative radio in Toronto, not number one yet, but you will be. Would they play this?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, they would probably be along with it. Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what the new record puts out. I mean, if they get the Peloton commercial, we'll have no option.
That's what we're waiting on.
Now, let me get to the important questions. If you play Montreal, are me and Jeremy on the guest list? Just
absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Good. All right, and the album Elsewhere. I'm sure you haven't printed the covers yet. Still time to put us in the credits, right? Thank yous.
Oh yeah. So we'll make sure they write Sharpie on every single copy.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, just on the cover, Mitch and Jeremy.
I just want to make sure that
our title and just write that instead.
I just want to make sure that the important stuff, the important details are taken care of. That's all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we got our holographic laminates at will call. We got our platinum albums waiting for us in the mail. Yeah, we're setting it off. Yeah.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Oh man.
And I'm glad we did this interview because as I was talking with Max on Twitter yesterday, it was proposed to us. I went and looked at all the videos. I thought, this is a really fun vibe and a fun band. and people need to be talking about it, and people need to be giving it a chance. And really,
let's be honest, there's also not a lot of artists that are like fun anymore. Like you listen to your music and it's fun. Like, you know, you listen to Billie Eilish and she's just like, and then everybody else is just.
Don't tell that to my daughter. She's going to
bringing fun back. Bringing fun back to pop rock. You know, that's what we need.
Yeah. Backstreet Boys and Poison together. Look, come on, that's a good combination right there.
That needs to be how we are marketed from now on.
Yes.
That'll be your ad and billboard, bringing fun back to rock.
Yeah. That's actually not. Also, they're just like Backstreet Boys and Poison.
yeah, Backstreet Boys meets Poison. Quote Mitch
The
Lafon.
Poison Boys.
Yeah, the Poison Boys. Backstreet Poison. Even better.
Yep. Poison's back. All right.
Talk dirty to me. All right, anyway.
Listen, brand new album is going to be out in 2022. I guess you're going to be able to do. You're going to do the vinyl. You're going to do the cassettes, the CDs, everything, or
the whole 9 yards.
The 8-track.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody's been doing 8 tracks. The Weeknd did 8 tracks of his last album, I think. So
Really?
Yeah,
like a limited run or something. It's weird.
Listen,
Anyone have a player?
I grew up in the time where we had an 8-track player in the car. No fucking 8-tracks. They're horrible.
No CD players in cars now. It's so weird.
I got a CD player. I bought my car specifically because there is a CD player in it.
Wow.
So,
Amazing.
Yeah.
I have a CD player in my car. They stuck it in the glove compartment of the
Dude, that's where mine is too. You have to open the thing and like you're driving and you're trying to reach and get the CD out. Like,
How much they don't want it in. They're like, just put it in the glove compartment.
Well, he's got it. You've got an Audi. I've got a Volkswagen. It's the same company. So somebody just at Volkswagen just said, just fuck it in the glove compartment. Who
put the
cares?
CD player in thine Audi. Like somebody's
room. Just make it work.
yeah.
Just don't clutter the panel.
So what's next? This album comes out next year. You're going to be hitting the road doing some shows, or
Yeah, we got the U.S. tour in January, February. We're going back to the U.K. Europe tour, which is incredible. We were supposed to do that starting when?
I think it was 2019.
2019, we were supposed to go see them. I had a vocal injury, had to get that repaired.
Yeah, how's that going? You had like a vocal hemorrhage, right?
Dude, I feel better than ever. I seriously mean that. Like after
what happened specifically? Like, what happened to you? Like, what were your symptoms?
So what happened was we were playing a show in Singapore, and it was the last day of our long tour. And usually as a singer on that day, you're like, this is the day I can just fuck around and I'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And I was wrong. So I drank coffee that day. I had like a shot before we went on stage, totally dehydrated. I blame myself. And I went up for this high note in our song Uncontainable, and I felt not a pop, but like just a weird sensation. And then for the rest of that song, I was like, trying to scoop up for notes, and I started to notice the tone of my voice and was like, a friend of mine that has polyps sounds just like this. So the rest of the set, I'm just freaking out. After the set, I tell the guys and I'm like, hey, I'm really worried, and they know me and how anxious I get, and they're really good at helping me be more calm. Like, don't worry, man, you're gonna be fine. And so I felt better, did karaoke one night 2 weeks after, and still couldn't hit notes, and I'm like, something's wrong. Got diagnosed with vocal hemorrhage, had to go on strict vocal rest for 2 weeks, not a word. By the way, we don't really understand how much we're always talking. And like when you rest a certain muscle, obviously there's atrophy. 2 weeks of not talking and you talk again, you sound like an absolute baby. It's so weird. Your voice is higher. Well, I had to get basically this elevated vein on one of my vocal cords lasered off. So I was like, they put me under, did that whole thing, another like week or so, vocal rest, liquid diet, worked myself back, found a new vocal coach, Rachel Lawrence, who has just absolutely revitalized me. And kind of improved my range and overall comfort on tour. And I feel incredible. I can't wait to go back out on the road.
I'll tell you this. I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you how to fix this. Just run a Pro Tool rig in the back. Don't actually sing.
Dude, I'm not even joking. While I had the vocal injury, we did a tour.
Oh, did you?
And the doctor, my vocal doctor, was like, just run a track. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So we just created a set because we were doing support. So it wasn't an hour-long set. It was 45 minutes. Where I sang 3 songs, and then I had Max come to the front, and he sang a song, and I played drums. And then we did 3 songs, and then we went off stage, and Max did a drum solo, and then we did 3 songs, and by then it's 45 minutes.
Oh, no.
So we were able to do like a vocal easy set that still was a full set. And we just like, no, the show must happen, and it worked out. But yeah, they were waiting forever. They had to wait for the vocal injury. Then we come back around. We completed an Australia tour. And as this was going to go Australia, we were going to do direct support for Jimmy Eat World in Asia. First time ever in Asia.
Oh, wow.
And then we were going to go from there to UK, Europe, and do that tour and make it up to them. Well, we all know what happened. We finished our Australia tour. We found out the Asia tour got canceled because of the coronavirus. And then
The
we're
COVID.
sitting there and we're like, let's just get an Airbnb in Australia and see if maybe we can make it work. Nope, got canceled. So this is the second time it got canceled. They all held on to their tickets, and now we're finally making it up to them when we go over there.
Finally.
God, right?
Wow.
And the whole time, Max and Zach were like, okay, who can we get if instead of Cody?
Is there an app for this? How do we find?
Find a
Go on Fiverr
singer.com.
and find a new singer.
You know, enough is enough.
Great band, by the way, and you sort of have the same color scheme.
Do we really?
Yeah. Do you know Enough's Enough?
I actually do not.
Oh, you got to go. Go look up the song "My Michelle" by Enough's Enough.
Okay.
It's got the entire pink, green. They got the whole thing going on, and you will love it.
Okay. Hell yes. Okay, cool. We'll check that out.
Classic 80s band.
Classic, still touring.
Listen,
Bringing it back.
welcome to Elsewhere Tour, kicking off January 13th in LA at the Belasco Theater. Tickets are still available for this tour, right? Is it or is it totally
They
sold
go
out?
until on. Well, I don't know when this.
Well, they go until Friday, right?
Yeah, so they're out. They're out right now. Setitoffband.com.
Let's
Yep,
go.
absolutely. All right, perfect
Perfect.
stocking stuffer this holiday season.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, listen, Cody, Zach, Max, this was great to meet you guys. Man, best of luck with the new record. We'll have to chat again when it's on the up. And yeah, this is awesome.
We got you at the show. Hopefully, we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to have a night of fun, and this is fun.
I might have to come to Irving Plaza and go check that out. You're only 5 hours away, so why not?
Oh, please do.
Oh, the New
Please
York
do.
shows are crazy. You're gonna have a good time. Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you, boys.
All right, boys. We'll see you later.
Thanks so much. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for having us.
Cheers. Absolutely.
An all-new episode of The Mitch Lafon and Jeremy White Show.
Tuesday at noon.
Available wherever you stream.